Well, I mean, I think it gets to, there's actually two groups of challenges, kind of two sides of the equation. One of them is a set of engineering and operations challenges, and that really gets to the fact that the grid wasn't designed to handle large amounts of energy being kind of injected around the edge. So you've got problems that occur, reverse power flows and voltage fluctuations and all kinds of stuff that needs to be solved. And that's kind of the technical side of the challenges. But there's a whole other kind of economic and regulatory set of challenges. And they're all around, how does this sort of set of resources raise questions about how a utility company, a distribution utility, make money. How does this impact the business model? How does it impact kind of the market as a whole? If you said, well, where are the biggest hurdles, right? I think the bigger hurdles are on that economic and regulatory side of things. I guess a technology perspective, I think people tend to go immediately to energy storage, and I think that is one of the enablers. But I think there's a lot of other enablers that are, technological that aren't necessarily, storage related. So, for instance, if you look at this concept that we've got of what we call distribution system optimization. In other words, how do you take a holistic view of a utility distribution network and start to do a better job of predicting what's going to happen on that network in the near future. So what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen some number of hours ahead, so you can then be more proactive. Because the way we've run distribution networks has always been very reactive, right? A problem occurs, how are you going to react to it? I think it's much more now around trying to predict what's going to happen and be more proactive about operating that network. Germany's great because it's given everybody this kind of lightning rod to attract attention and try to figure out, wow, is that going to happen elsewhere? And if so, how are we going to solve that problem? I don't think that we're going to see, I think Germany was in many cases a very, very unique case. Part of it was timing, part of it was how they designed the policies and the incentives. So I don't think you're going to actually see that replicated elsewhere in exactly the same way. So what I think you're going to see is a realization that revenue erosion can occur due to high penetrations of solar. And you're going to see policymakers and regulators and utilities start to put forth new ideas for how do you avoid that happening. And I think the initiative that the New York PSC put out with kind of redefining the role of a distribution utility is an effort in that direction. So we look at the grid edge as the name implies, what's happening all around the connection between the grid, the distribution part of the grid, and all the stakeholders that have a role to play in distribution. So less about kind of the physical connection points. In other words, how do you connect to a customer that has rooftop solar, although that's certainly part of it, or how do you connect to a customer that has some other distributed energy resource. But kind of more looking at kind of who are the participants in a kind of local distribution market, and what roles do they need to play, and how can we kind of enable the roles to make that kind of a successful market. If we look at sort of the big challenges facing distribution utilities, distributed energy resources are kind of the top challenge right now. Maybe almost tied with severe weather and extreme weather events, kind of what we've been addressing with resiliency. So you put those kind of two together, and that for Ventyx creates a real opportunity for us and for the rest of ABB to then start looking at how can we develop and bring to market technology solutions that kind of map to the business processes that a distribution utility would use to then deal with those kind of disruptive factors. So I mean, that's kind of the full circle as you go from kind of disruptive forces to impact on the business and the business process to how do you leverage technology and then come back around to, improving or transforming the business process to deal with those disruptive factors.